instant, in an instant, in an instant, hot. In an instant, in an instant, in an instant, hot.
Good morning and welcome to this morning's stream of In an Instant Pot. Today we're going to do a lasagna-ish dish. Anybody who was with us yesterday will know that I cooked a pasta sauce. Well, today we're going to see the fruits of that labour and use it in this dish. As I said, today we're going to be cooking a lasagna-ish dish. Try and say that without your teeth in. It's not going to be very easy. What we're going to use? Well, we're going to use yesterday's pasta sauce. We're going to use some gruotte pasta, which is like a wagon wheel. But you could use a fusilli or something like that. But I wouldn't use a spaghetti or tagliatelle because that'll break down too much and it might actually turn to a bit of mush when it's actually cooked. I'm going to use the usual onion. We'll be chopping that in my usual way, which I'll show you in a minute. I'm going to use a bit of garlic, bit of oregano, little bit of char grilled peppers out of a jar, some sun-dried tomatoes, a little bit of olive oil, and I've got some beef mince. That's for the main pot. I'm going to add a little bit of hot sauce as well, because I like it a little bit spicy. And then, of course, with the lasagna, you usually have a white sauce. Well, I'm going to be using some ricotta and some soft cheese, a bit like Philadelphia, and an egg, which we'll add after it's been pressure cooked, because the heat from the actual red sauce will cook the egg through and the cheese through. And I'm going to add in a little bit of mozzarella and then we'll try it. So fingers crossed, that's how it's going to work today. The actual cooking time is only 5 minutes. Yep, 5 minutes actual cook time. Admittedly, you've got to let the pot come to pressure, which will take a few minutes, but that's fine. And then 5 minutes cooking. Can you believe it? That's amazing. You'll have a dish in that quick. You know, you don't have to have made your own pasta sauce. You can always buy a jar, you know, and that's absolutely fine too. I'm going to make a start now. I'm going to start chopping the onion, as I like doing, because I have a little gadget that makes it a lot easier. So all I'm going to do here is chop off the ends of the onion. They'll go into my compost later. And then I'm going to peel it. Now, I have a real bad issue with onions. They always make me cry when I'm chopping them. But I've tried all sorts of different things. You know, people say, put a spoon in your mouth. You know, no, that doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work. It's a load of rubbish. But you know, they try, try and put a cold compress on your eyes. That doesn't work. So what do? I just chop the onion in quarters. Sometimes if it's a bit bigger, I'll do it in a little bit less. Well, I have this proper chopper. And this is dead easy, because all you do is you put a quarter of the onion on it, like so. And then you just press down till it goes crunk, like that, and your onion is chopped. Chopped. And the best thing is it keeps it in it. It would be better if I had a better table, but unfortunately you have to work with what you've got. I might not use all this onion. I really don't know. But you can see I've now chopped a whole onion and it's all in there. The best thing is, you put the lid on and that's ready to go. So let's move it away. Dead easy. So what else we got? Well, as I said, yesterday I made a pasta sauce. Now I actually got 3 litres of pasta sauce out of this, which is quite impressive. Today we're going to be using 1.5 litres. We're going to use 1 litre at the start, just over. And then at the end we'll use another 1/4 of a litre and see how it goes. It all depends how thick it gets whilst actually cooked in the Instant Pot. So we'll put that to one side for now, because what we need to do now is get the meat ready. So in here I have 1 kilo of beef mince, just basic mince. It's just come from the butchers, and it's it's nice and stringy. But what I want to add a little bit of herbs. So I'm going to add a little bit of oregano. That's if I can open the pot. There we go. So I'm going to add about, I don't know, about a teaspoon of oregano. There we go. And then use the best tool in the world, your hands, and just give it a good mix in. Just remember, once you've used and touched all this raw meat, to use the tap, some soap, and wash your hands well and good. And it's just to try and get a bit of that herb incorporated into the mince and make sure it's all nice and done. Now you can see it's all coming through now, which is all good, because soon we're going to start cooking. Because it's not going to take long to do this at all. And there you go, that's all I'm doing. Just a little bit. So just bear with me while I just wash my hands. Always wash your hands after handling raw meat. And then that one can go to the side. So really, we're actually ready to go. So let's go over to the pot and see what happens. So, anybody who hasn't got an Instant Pot, it's actually what they call a multi-use cooker. For those who have got one, they'll know all about this. But I like using it because it's fast, it's safe, and goodness me, it's just the best life-changing thing that I've had. So I'm really happy. So, for those who've got one, you need to put it on saute mode and press on, and add a dash of oil, just such, and let the oil warm up. So that'll take 2 or 3 minutes to warm up. And then we're going to add the onions. Now the onions will cook in a matter of a minute or two. You've got to keep it stirring. If you don't keep it stirring, then it's an absolute nightmare, because they will burn very, very easy. So the Instant Pot is heating. I can feel it getting warmer already. As I said, it's going to get to temperature on saute. The Instant Pot gets really hot. If you put a frying pan on a full temperature ring, this pot gets hotter. And that's why it can cook so fast and so quick. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be frying off the onions just for a couple of minutes. Then I'm going to add in the mince to brown that off a little bit. And then we can start adding everything else in. But the very last thing we're going to add in at the end is the rote pasta, the little wagon wheel pasta. which I'm looking forward to trying. And I said it's going to take five minutes actual cooking time. It's no time at all, is it? It's great. So there you go. For those, I don't know if you can see it or not, but the actual Instant Pot just said hot, which means it's ready. It comes to my natural 15 minutes because that's how long maximum I ever saute for. And it's now on the cooking stage. So we can go straight to the pot and see what's happening. So, over at the pot. Well, first things first, as I said, we need to add the onions. Well, as you know, I've got the onions in my little gadget here. And all you do is literally pour them in. That's it. Done. And you can hear them sizzling straight away. So as I said, you really need to get them going because otherwise they will stick and burn. They really do that very, very quick. And you only want them to be lightly cooked. Now I've only added a little glug of oil this time because I know that the mince has got a lot of fat in it. Even though it's 20% reduced fat, it's going to have a lot of fat in it. There you go, they're already starting to stick at the bottom, and that hasn't even been a minute in the pot. Just shows you how quick these things are. It's amazing. You can see there now, the onions are softened already. Starting to brown, starting to stick. Ready for the next bit, all red, so fast. So I'm going to add in some of the meat, about half of it I would say for now. Let that brown. Then we'll add the other half. Just bear with me, I'm going to wash my hand. So as I said, I'm not adding any more fat because I know this beef has got a lot of fat in it already. But can you hear it sizzle? It's so fast. But this is going to be a really tasty dish. And if you don't want to use beef, you can always use pork, or ground turkey or chicken, whatever your flavour. What I'm trying to do is a nice beefy dish. So that's already starting to brown. So I'm going to add in the rest of the meat. So this isn't going to take long. I reckon about three minutes or so to actually get this meat all browned. Well, the good thing is, because it's got such high sides, this pot, you're not going to splatter all over your worktop. Which, again, it's a bonus because it's going to save you time in cleaning. So you can see there's some fat coming out of this meat now. Starting to cook in its own juice. So you can see over here, starting to sizzle away. Well, that's going to be the actual fat out of the beef. Like I said, I have used 20% fat, reduced fat content, so I didn't want to have too much fat because sometimes it goes swimming. And if you ever use a lamb mince, you'll get a lot of fat, a lot more fat than normal. You can see it's starting to brown off now. sounds good and it smells good. Well, that is nearly where I want it now. Don't mind if there's a little bit left pink because it'll cook in the actual pot anyway. So it's really bubbling away furiously now. So this is where we can start adding some more ingredients. Well, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add in a quarter of a litre of broth. And it's just a basic stock cube broth, nothing exciting. But that'll be helping it to get to pressure later on. Because the actual pasta sauce I've got seems a bit thick. So I might not use all the pasta sauce. I might just use a bit less. Because I think it will just thicken up in the pot anyway. So we've got that there. So what else am I going to add? Well, I'm going to add some garlic. No, I haven't crushed any garlic. Today I'm using some garlic puree. And just about, I don't know, 2 teaspoons maybe of crushed garlic. And you just stir that in. It's already starting to look like it could be something to eat already. But it's nowhere near ready yet. So, as I said earlier, I'm going to be adding in, just to add a little bit of flavour, I've got half a jar of char grilled peppers in oil, so I'm just going to add those in. You know, if a little bit of the oil goes in, doesn't matter. Just don't add all the oil. No, that's fine. Ooh, there's one more piece there. There we go. So we're going to add that in. I'll just add a little bit of a flavour to the dish later on. And just keep stirring every now and again. You know, and those people who get to eat those bits of peppers will thank you. And because I absolutely love them, and I want this to be a really tomatoey dish, I've got my favourite, some sun-dried tomatoes. Love sun-dried tomatoes. I only added I don't know, just half a jar. At the moment, at the likes of Home Bargain, they're about 99p a jar, but they add so much flavour. They are so strong, so much depth. They are going to add such a piquancy to this dish. Tomato, tomato, let's have some tomato. Let's have some fun with the dish of tomorrow. Let's add some tomato, dear, oh yeah. So let's add some tomatoes here. So what else do I need to do? Well, I need to add in 2 more ingredients and then we're done. So I've got here my marinara sauce. Now I'm going to add in about a litre. As you can see, it's still really thick from yesterday. Really thick. So that's why I added the broth in earlier. So I took this out of the fridge earlier on this morning, just to take the chill off it. Now, it might not look much at the moment. I'll add a little bit more. There we go. Let's add that much. And let's add in the rest of the stuff. Got another 50ml there. Might as well use it. So, as I said, now put about 400ml of stock in. And just over a litre of the marinara sauce, the pasta sauce from yesterday. So if you get a jar of sauce, just get about a litre jar and it'll be fine. But I want to add in some hot sauce because I like it a little bit spicy. So I've just got some Franks here. And I'm only adding a couple of teaspoons, maybe a tablespoon. And guess what? You just give it a stir. And that little bit will add a tiny bit of heat in the background, but it's not going to burn your mouth off. Obviously, if you've got young children, they might not like these ingredients. I just added them in because I like the flavour. You know, and if you want to make this into more of a bolognese, you can add in, you know, some mushrooms to this, and maybe add in some fresh thyme and maybe a bit of basil. But now it's time for the final ingredient, which is the pasta. As I said, today I'm using rouotte. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, then I'm sorry. These are little wagon wheels. But this is the thing you do with the Instant Pot. If you're putting pasta in a dish like this, what you don't want to do is totally stir them in. No. You just literally pour them in, like that. And you just want to dip them into the sauce, just so they're all coated on the top. And what's going to happen is this is going to create another sort of lid for the liquid to get to pressure under. And that's it. So is that easy so far? I hope so. Because what we're going to do now is that has taken me 10 minutes to do all that. So now, for those who've got the Instant Pot, you want to press cancel. So it'll go to the off position, and then we put the lid on. Make sure the vent is set to seal, which is at the back. And what will happen, the pin here will shoot up when it's at pressure, and once it's at pressure, it'll start cooking. So you press pressure cook on the front of your pot, and this time you're going to cook for 5, maybe 6. I'll do 6 today because I've got a bit more quantity in there. 6 minutes on high, and you remember to press start, and you can hear that, and that means it's ready to start getting to pressure. So, clean board. The other one had got some meat on. Don't want that, do we? So, what we're going to do here, we have got a glass bowl. We have got 1 egg. An egg and a bowl. First things first, crack the egg into the bowl. Easy, done. This egg was laid yesterday by one of my hens. I think it was laid by Hilda. She's the biggest girl and she usually lays the biggest eggs. So this is a really fresh egg. We're going to use half a packet of just soft cheese. You know, you can use Philadelphia if you want to go expensive. That's fine. All we're going to do is literally pop it in the same bowl as the egg. Simple. Done. And the next thing, we've got some ricotta. Now this tub is apparently 250 grams. Well, we're going to be using a good, I don't know, 150 or so grams. So there we go, there's the ricotta. Let's get a spoon to get it out with. So there's a load of it. And so yeah, we've used about 2/3 of that ricotta. We're going to add in some parsley. Just a bit of parsley just to make it a bit better. And then just a sprinkle, I don't know, just a little sprinkle of salt. Then all we've got to do is mix it all together. And of course, we've got to make sure that it's all really incorporated. And you could use a whisk. I prefer using a fork. But this is going to create the cheesy sauce that you usually get, the white sauce, in a lasagna dish. And as I said, the heat from the actual food will cook that raw egg. Not that you can tell it's got any egg in it, but it has, and it'll cook that down very, very quick. So, as you can see, that's it. That's now ready. So, we can put that there. Because the other thing we're going to add in is some mozzarella. So, I'm just going to drain the mozzarella. We'll come back to that in a minute. Maybe a mozzarella ball. And with this mozzarella, all we're going to do is grate it. So that's all we're going to do. So as you can see, I've got a grater, so I'm going to use the fat width grater. And just grate it as much as I can. Not the easiest thing to grate. In fact, this might have been the one to use with my little onion chopper, might have been better. But you can either grate it like so, or what we'll do with the other one is we'll just try and fine dice it, because this is a nightmare to grate. But it's only to add a little bit more cheese into the sauce. So just squish it through as you're going down, just watch your fingers don't rip. And there you go, we've got some nice shredded mozzarella, mozzarella. Who wants to eat some mozzarella? Ella, mozzarella. Who wants to eat some mozzarella? So, the other one, I'm going to just chop it to some slices. And then I'm going to try, he says, and do it this way. And then we'll do it at an angle. So basically we're mincing it with a knife. So it depends which one you want to play with. Depends which you go with. And you can add all or none. It's up to you. But we're going to add it. So we've got some diced mozzarella. We've got some shredded mozzarella. But we've also got the lovely ricotta and cream cheese. So when this has come to temperature, it'll soon go in and cook. So yeah, Liz, you can grate mozzarella. It's not the easiest thing to grate, but you can see it makes a better texture, a lot finer texture than when you're trying to chop it yourself. Obviously, I've just done that quickly. I could have taken a bit more time, but I couldn't be bothered. So let's just have a look at the cook cam and see where we're up to. Well, the pin has just started to rise. So that means in a minute, we'll hopefully hear a beep. And that beep means that we'll be able to go and it'll start cooking. hear it. The steam's slowed down, so that means it's coming up to pressure. As you can see anyway, with yesterday's pasta sauce and everything else, it's quite a quick, easy meal. As I said, you don't have to make your own pasta sauce. Go out and get a jar. It's fine. Just remember though, when you've made your own, you know exactly what's gone in it. It's not overly processed. Apart from the tinned tomatoes, which of course have been put into a tin, so technically they've been processed and they've got juice in them. I don't use the tomatoes with herbs in for this dish because I want to add my own herbs. I know what the taste is going to be. So I know yesterday's is quite a tangy sauce. We did add some coconut sugar, and I did get a question about coconut sugar yesterday. And yes, you can definitely use normal sugar. I wouldn't use brown sugar because that's quite treacly, but I'll definitely use a white granulated sugar and just add in a teaspoon or so, whatever it is to your own taste. And if at the end it's still too tangy, just add another half a teaspoon. It's amazing how much half a teaspoon of sugar will make to a couple of litres of sauce. It makes a big difference. And we're going to do a quick release. And when it goes quick release, it'll let all the pressure out of the cooker and it'll be ready to eat. Although we're going to add the pasta sauce in first, the white sauce and the cheese, hence to make it a Lasagne-Ish dish. Because I've also got some grated parmesan just to sprinkle on the top. I might add a couple of basil leaves just to make it look pretty. Or you can add in a sprig of thyme or something like that. Whatever you want. That's going to make it look nice. So this is going to be a nice lunchtime dish. Although I don't think I'm going to be eating all 2.5 litres. That might be a little bit too much to me on one sitting anyway. Or you could serve it with some nice garlic bread. Just go and get one from your local supermarket. Bung it in the oven, 12 minutes. Oh, by the time you've put the pressure cooker on and it's cooked, oh, that's about 12 minutes. Same time. So your garlic bread will be done nicely. You can get some cheap ones from Asda, 50p for 2 in the frozen section. They're absolutely fine. For anybody on a budget and you just want some, you get 2 big sticks. Well, that'll easily serve 4 people, if not 6 people, depending on how much garlic bread you want. Just put one in, and just have a couple of thin slices each, and save the other ones. I mean, I got the meat. I got this beef from Tesco, and it was really cheap. Let's have a look at it. There we go. I got it, and there's the price. Where are we? What camera? We're on that camera. I don't know if you can see that, but this cost me £1.12 for the meat. £1.12. I got it at the end of the day. And that's when everybody should go shopping. Go when the supermarkets are actually starting to reduce things. Save some money. And if you can afford it, buy a couple. Put one in a freezer. It's going to save you a lot of money. Just take it out the night before to defrost. And you can cook it. So I've spent £1.12 on that. I've got half a tub of Philadelphia, well, the cheap Philadelphia, the cheap cream cheese. They're 62p a pot. Well, I only used half a pot. So there's 30p. I've got a couple of mozzarellas. They were 40p each. And I got the ricotta for 60p. If you buy a jar of sauce, you might spend £2. So this whole meal is, it's going to serve at least 6 people. It's costing you £4 at the most. Well, I don't think that's bad for 6 people. Even if you have 4 people, it's £1 a head. That is a really good value, quality meal. It's not hard to do. You know, and rather than you slave over a stove and watching the pot boil over and having to clean it all up afterwards, put it in the Instant Pot and it's all contained. It's going to be cooked perfect. You don't have to watch the pasta. You don't have to watch the sauce. You just go away and leave it. Once it's ready, it'll beep you to say, oi, come on. But even then, it'll turn itself off and go into the keep warm mode. Urban Kodo, we get to see the result in, 3 minutes time left to cook. And then we've got to add the cheese. That'll take another 2 minutes. So I would say 5, maybe 7 minutes. And that will be ready. Within 10 minutes, it'll be in my bowl and starting to go in my tub. Oh, there's the beep to say it's ready to go. So for those who can see, I don't know if you can, but if you haven't got one, the actual Instant Pot's now gone down to 0 and it's now keep warm. Well, you want to cancel that. So the pot will go to off. It's letting the steam out first. That's a good idea. So you can see all the steam. Loads and loads of steam. Once that steam has come off, then we're actually able to add the other bits because we have to undo the lid. So the actual pot now has stopped steaming. As you can see, there's no steam. So now we can open the lid. Nice little doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Now we're going to have more steam coming out. And there you can see the actual dish is looking glorious. So I know now that actually I need to add a lot more fluid to this. So I'm going to add in the rest of the marinara sauce and it'll warm it through. The actual heat of the pasta will do it, and you can see it's now nice and lucid. But it hasn't got that cream size. So what we're going to do, we're going to add in, to start with, the grated mozzarella. And yep, you've guessed it, just stir it through. And what will happen, that will start to melt and it'll become all stringy, like mozzarella should do. Because it's still keeping warm, the pot is still red hot. Then we're going to add in the white sauce we made. So just literally spoon it in. And guess what? What we're going to do is do it again. Now this will totally change the consistency and the colour. As you can see, it's starting to go that nice creamy colour now. And you can see the strings of mozzarella. So the mozzarella is doing what it should do. You know what? I'm going to use the other mozzarella as well. And there we go. We'll add that on. It does look yummy. I agree. But I'm hoping it's going to taste yummy. So once we've just left this for a minute now, just stir in the rest of that pasta and that mozzarella, and that'll start getting all stringy. And then we'll come back to that in 1 minute. So in 1 minute, we're going to put it into a bowl, and then it's crunch time. Time to taste. Which I am ready for. I'm looking forward to this. So one final stir, and you can see the mozzarella is going all stringy, all delicious. As I said, this is a really thick sauce. Look at that. Look at the way that mozzarella's coming off. Lovely. It's just what you want. Come on. So now is the time of truth. Time to get some out. And see what it's like. So, you want to make it look a bit fancy? Just add on a bit of shredded basil, just like that. And there you have it. My Lasagne-Ish dish using ruote pasta. These beautiful wagon wheels. Let's see how it tastes. So yeah, the pasta is cooked to perfection. The beef is in there. The mozzarella is nice and stringy. Smells delicious. That is absolutely heavenly. I wish you could try some with me, but it's absolutely delicious. The mince is cooked perfect. It's not too fatty. Even though the amount of cheese I put in, not very cheesy, but it's got the lasagna effect. Guys, you've got to try this. So simple, so quick, so tasty. My goodness. I think it's an absolute triumph. Yeah. And I think the wagon wheel pasta has really worked well. I mean, everybody can you can use whatever pasta you want, as long as it's quite a thick pasta. Spaghetti would just literally turn to stodge. It would actually just not work at all. It would make it too thick. Obviously, if you want to thin the stuff down, just add a little bit more stock, maybe another 250 mils of stock. And that, you can add that at the end. If you think it's a bit too thick, just do another stock cube, add another 250 mil, and that'll thin it all down again. Give it a good stir, and it'll still taste good, but it'll just be that much thinner, and it'll make it go that much further as well. But this is ideal for children. There's nothing in here. As I said, I put a tablespoon of hot sauce. Can't tell. But I know it's there because it's just something in the back, but it's not spicy. I think that's about it for today, guys. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing next week. I might do a couple of air fryer dishes next week rather than the actual Instant Pot. I'll be streaming again at 10 o'clock on Monday and Tuesday next week. Please check out my website, www.inaninstant-pot.com. I do a weekly blog on there. The recipe for this will be up there in a few days' time. I've already put up previous recipes. We'll see what happens. Up until then, I'd really thank you all for watching. Please, consider, watching again. Let everybody else know who might like it. I'll hear some more tasty dishes next week. Until then, enjoy the chicks. Bye-bye.
instant, in an instant, off. In an instant, in an instant, in an instant, off.